Hello, once again, it is that Sunday time again here at Church of St. Michael. My name is Farah Rose. I go by Sister Farah, professed lay Franciscan minister. I work in the Office of Healing, Deliverance, Spiritual Warfare, and Exorcism. I welcome you to tonight's version of, we are doing the 12 Steps of Humility and Pride, and you can get it free. There's a link below if you'd like to download your copy. Currently, we're already on. This is a wild chapter. We're doing chapter 12, Unseasonable Merriment. And although this book, The 12 Steps of Humility and Pride on God by St. Bernard of Clairvaux, this was intended for religious and for monks, I believe it's also very appropriate for today, for the world that we're living in today, for our own spirituality, our own level of personal growth. Because when we look at what we have and we look at where we could be, sometimes our inventory is not as accurate as it could be. So I like to think that adding these bits of wisdom on St. Bernard of Clairvaux could be the thing that just it launches us. It launches us into the next level. So I'm hoping that if you're new, that you get something out of this and you find some sort of little grain of wisdom that you can apply. And I'm hoping that if you're following along, you too have brought your journal and you're ready to rock and roll. You've got your tea, you've got your popcorn, or whatever it is you need. This is a pop-up live, so you're going to hear me addressing the audience and possibly answering questions. So thank you very much for your patience. Give us a like, a thumbs up. It puts us in the algorithm here on YouTube and helps other people discover a different way of looking at their Christianity, a different way of walking with Christ. So hello to my moderator, Anne. Good to see you, Azar. And those of you I can actually see on my other device here that are out there, welcome. We are going to get directly into prayer on today's chapter 12, Unseasonable Merriment. Pray ourselves in and jump right in. In nomine Patri et Filio et Spiritus Sanctus, sic erat in principio et nunc et semper ex saeculorum. Sancta Michael Arcangele, defende nos in prelio. Contra nequitiam et insidiis diaboli, esto presidium. Imperit illi Deus, supplices te precamur tuque. Princeps maletia celestis satanam aliosque, spiritus malignos, qui ad perditionem, animarum pervegantur in mundo divina virtute in infernum detrude. Amen. Our study prayer by St. Ignatius of Loyola, Suscipe. Suscipe Domine, universum meam libertatem, accipe memoriam intellectum atque voluntatum omnem, quid quibavio vel posideo. Mihi largitus es, et tibi totum restit suac tui prorsus, voluntate trado gubernandum. Amorem, tui solum, cum gratia tui mihi dones, et divis sum satis, et caluit quidquam ultra posco. Amen. The 12 Steps of Humility and Pride on Loving God, St. Bernard of Clairvaux. Chapter 12, The Third Degree, Unseasonable Merriment, which is the opposite of the 10th degree of humility. Refraining from frequent and light laughter. It is characteristic of the proud that they always look out for pleasure and shun sadness, in accordance with the saying, the heart of fools is where there is mirth. So it is that the monk, who has already descended 2 degrees of pride and through inquisitiveness has arrived at levity. When he sees the joy for which he is always on the lookout, constantly interrupted by the distress which he feels at the sight of good in others, chafes under the sense of humiliation and takes refuge in a suggestion of unreal comfort. Henceforth, he restrains his inquisitiveness on that side on which his own worthlessness and his neighbor's excellence are shown to him, and turns his whole attention to the other side. He may thus mark only too carefully those things in which he seems to be a better man, and may hide those in which others surpass him, and so may put away all thought of sorrow, and remain always merry. It thus happens that silly merriment soon gains sole possession of the man whom joy and sorrow alternately claim. I set this before you as the 3rd degree of pride. Now note the marks by which you may detect it, either in yourself or in anyone else. You seldom or never hear a man of this kind groan or see him shed tears. You will think, if you consider that his faults are either forgotten or forgiven, his gestures are those of a buffoon, his look that of a coxcomb, his step that of a dandy. He's always making jokes and never loses a chance of laughing. He cuts out of his mind all discreditable and therefore distressing recollections, and concentrates his mental vision on his real or pretended merits, as he thinks of nothing but what is pleasant, without considering whether it is lawful. He can neither restrain laughter nor hide his unseasonable merriment. A bladder swells when it's full of wind, but if a small hole is pricked in it and it is squeezed, it creaks as it collapses, and the air does not rush out at once, but is gradually expelled and gives out frequent intermittent sounds. In like manner, when a monk has filled his mind with vapid and vulgar thoughts, the flood of folly, which cannot, owing to the rule of silence, find full and free vent, is thrown, but from his narrow jaws in guffaws of laughter. He constantly hides his face as if ashamed, compresses his lips and clenches his teeth. He laughs loudly without meaning to do so, even against his will. And when he has stopped his mouth with his fists, he is frequently heard to sneeze. You know, I have to tell you, I read this, I pray about it, I write about it. reading that just now, I just got a totally different direction to go with the show. Isn't that crazy? Welcome, live audience. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks. Yes, I love that word buffoon too. It's quite an interesting word. I'm hoping if you are not new, you've already got your journals. If you are new, you might want to take some notes. As I mentioned earlier, this book of wisdom, this book of ascending through virtue, humility and pride, mainly written for monks and religious, can be applied to those of us seeking to be like Christ, seeking to put away that which does not serve us or anyone else. This is a difficult one to wrap our minds around because most of us think in the secular world and in the world at large that laughter's great, laughter's wonderful, merriment is fabulous. The world needs so much more, right? Did I forget to mention, give it a thumbs up? There's a bell down below if you want to get notified for future shows that I'm doing live or that are pre-recorded, and share it if you dare. So as we look at how St. Bernard of Clairvaux was talking about merriment here, I bring my tea too. We look at the instance where in the rule that monks are not so much forbidden to laugh. They're not forbidden from merriment. The focus is on genuine merriment, genuine affection, genuine emotions. And when we see that there is an imbalance, possibly a religious or a monk that is too happy all the time, is constantly maybe making dirty jokes, maybe instead of following his rule, he's got excessive laughter constantly. He's constantly laughing and making fun and looking for other things and ways to be happy. Not necessarily a bad thing. However, within the rule that he is professed to, he needs to look deeper, because this affectation towards excessive joy and merriment is pointing out an underlying inside that person a source of unreal comfort. So in other words, there's something disquieting in here. There's something uncomfortable that you constantly got to laugh and you constantly got to poke things. This is where it applies to us. And when I read this, guess what I thought of? I'm doing a show, another one soon, on narcissism and the shadow demons that follow this mental track, the dark triad. And this is the first thing that struck me. You do not have to be diagnosed as a narcissist. You do not have to be diagnosed psychotic, Machiavellian, or even have any of the 13 factors in there, okay? What struck me here was, in this chapter, how he talks about hiding in that fake comfort zone. How many of us do that? How many of us do that every single week, every single day, whether we're standing in line at Walmart and there's somebody that just, oh my gosh, absolutely intolerable. So in order not to look at their distress or their sadness, in order not to look at the filth that they're trying to get themselves out of, I don't care if it's somebody that, just hasn't bathed in 7 days, somebody that is, challenged not knowing what gender is in their pants and they're wearing the opposite clothing, but you see them in their pain, but your mind refuses to address it in love, to be kind as Jesus would and love them right where they are, while not agreeing with whatever sin they may be in. So you make a joke. You laugh. We distract ourselves so that we don't have to look at the real situation in our faces. This is incredible. This is powerful. This is seriously eye-opening. This is giving us a small window of perception of our human nature, of our comfort level, that we hide behind. Isn't it, Izar? Isn't it? Because laughter is healing and laughter is joyful. And who doesn't love to laugh, and who doesn't want to give someone the gift of laughter? I love making people laugh. I'm always pointing out stupid stuff. Sometimes I cannot be so nice, and I can say a little bit of vulgar things too. That's not very nice. I'm trying to get away from it. However, the point is there that when we shove sorrow under the rug, when we shove another sadness under the rug, when we refuse to identify the emotions, challenges, thoughts that are going through our mind, instead of praying, instead of confronting something right then and there, we make a joke and we laugh and everybody's okay because everybody's laughing, and we pass that opportunity. We've missed that opportunity for honest truth. Excuse me, my dog is pestering me. Oh, merciful heavens. So, sorry about that. I do have a little poodle. Say hello to everybody. Hello. Now I'm going to put her behind me. This is my magic seat. She'll be happy. So the point here is, okay, and I'm not laughing because the dog's in pain. I'm in pain having to deal with her. It does explain a lot. Let's think about it. Let's think, yes, it is a shadow emotion, because instead of our genuine self, our genuine nature, either being disturbed at the situation we find ourselves in, or a lot of times, especially for me, okay, I'm sorry, but I only have my own crosses and my own inner challenges. I want to tell you that this is really powerful. This was eye-opening to me, because I thought, all right, what situations do I avoid with people in public? What personal situations do I avoid with friends? You know, what situations do I avoid with my family? And instead, we make light, we make a joke, we go to a family dinner. We can do any number of these things. And instead of being real, instead of saying, gosh, I'm sorry, instead of saying, would you like to talk about that? Hey, you know what? I've got some time this week. You know, why don't we sit down and what's going on with you? Let's just make a joke. And then I don't have to invest the time. I don't have to think. I don't have to address your situation. I do not have to feel your terror, your sorrow, your misery, because I've just made everything better with a joke, and everybody's laughing and everybody's fine, and it's fake and it's phony. And what does it do? It allows us to hide exactly what he said. In that little bit of discomfort that we can't get out of, we've just hidden who we really are. It's an unreal comfort. It's a fake comfort. It's a fake laughter. And when I first read this, I thought, well, he must be talking about what we do at the cooler when we sit there and, you know, poke our noses and make fun of office workers. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of that vapid stupidity. But this is deeper. This is a nugget deeper. This is asking us to look at the people around us. Look at the people we love, we say we care about. I got this great call from somebody I haven't seen at church in a long time, and because of health reasons and what's going on in our world today, you know, haven't seen her at Mass. And, you know, we were talking about certain things, and she was looking forward to getting together with some friends. And I thought, gosh, I haven't seen you in a while. We need to do this too. And I didn't make a joke out of it because I was sad. And she said, yeah, we need to. So that was so nice, you know. Mary, if you're listening, we're doing it soon. That was an instance where I could have made a joke. We could have made a joke about the priest. We could have made a joke about what's going on. But I didn't do it because the sorrow in my heart at missing her, I couldn't deny it. And when we're true to the sorrow, when we fully embrace things as God wants us to. not what we think we have to be to other people, not what we think they want to hear from us, not what we think what's going to heal the situation, what's going to make everybody comfortable so everybody goes away and everybody's happy. Just let things be. Let them unfold. Let them be what they're supposed to be. It's not easy to do. It really isn't. Because it requires us to be mindful of another person. I need us to be mindful. What are we doing in that time with another? And is laughter and merriment really appropriate? Or is Christ calling you to something deeper with that person right there? And how can you be Christ to them? Yeah, let's think about that. I have a request from chat that I want to put out there because not only is it Sunday, but this is a great opportunity for all of us. So even if you are hearing this and listening to this, because I do have a lot of people that come in on Tuesday and Wednesday to catch us up, but I'm going to ask you for prayer for Edgar, and I'm just going to give you his first name. He would like some specific prayer for a child, a girl, that is... She's experiencing difficulties, and she's decided separation from her family, especially grandmother, is better because in her struggles, she doesn't have to face whatever it is she needs to face if she's separate. So in your prayers, if you could remember Edgar and his daughter and pray for unity, pray for peace, pray for that connection to be rebuilt in that family for him. Thank you very much. So as I'm explaining this, I'm really appreciating the feedback because this chapter on the outskirts, like I said, it smacks of a monk. It smacks of religious life. It basically smacks of things that we think that these are wonderful, silly things that, and even Anne points out, another's expense, maybe? Are we laughing, in the wrong opportunities? I think it goes so much deeper than that. It goes so much deeper. I think that when we are aware, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe each of us need to be more aware. I got to say hello to somebody. Hello, Bernard. This book is all about you, Bernard. Yes, Edgar, you're welcome. Prayers for you and your family. When we look at ourselves in the mirror and we look at the opportunities this last week that we've had to create joy. I love creating joy. There is nothing more I really enjoy than being and bringing all that joy I have inside of me to somebody else. I really do. However, I need to be more mindful about the other person in front of me. Is joy really what that person needs on top of a horrible day, on top of a pain that I possibly can't imagine? Somebody just told me I had 5 deaths in about 2 years in my family once. And it's interesting how when people die, people never know what to say, no matter who it is, whether it's your sister, your cousin, whatever. People are just like, well, I'm sorry for your loss. Okay. Thanks. That's an appropriate thing to say. However, after the loss, people are saying, well, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Well, bloody well, they know you're not doing good. So instead of asking people, how are you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I lost my sister. Yeah, I lost my mother. Yeah, I lost my brother. Instead of saying, how are you doing? How about we say, hey, do you need an ear? How would you like to spend some time? How would you like to just go sit in the park and maybe share a burrito? I think that the true gift of our presence is way more than saying, how you doing? Oh, glad you're doing okay. The gift of our time is the most expensive, priceless gift that we can give to another. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. But look at this chapter. We're looking on an unseasonable merriment. How can we be fully present to one another? This is what I would like you to take away from this chapter. How can we be that present, that gift that Christ made us? How can we be that to one another in every way possible? Let's pull out our journals and get... Okay, journal time. Okay, let's see. Where's my text slide? Izar has a comment. Yes, I agree that there are components to our spirituality that sometimes we can't understand. And we are attacked. We are attacked in ways that we don't understand. And I think that in a big way, this chapter on, helping us discern, helping us sift, and because that's what discern is. Discern is to sift. When we need to discern what it is, where we're at, we are more careful about not allowing a spirit, a senseless spirit, a wasted spirit enter our space or another's. And we can be, fully present with another. So, oops, I forgot to put this is chapter 12, not chapter 11. I apologize for the mix-up, but we are in chapter 12. In our practical application notes, I did label it excessive emotional outburst, but I think you'll get the drift. It's not so much the emotional outburst. It's hiding behind that comfortable laughter. That comfortable laughter that we're comfortable in. Because if we're laughing, we don't have to feel your pain. We don't have to see you as you really are and have your misery enter us to where we have to address it. No, we can just make light of it. That's not what I want you to do. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that brushes off people because I don't have time and that's too much of me. I am too antisocial. It's probably my greatest sin. Because I do love people and I do love bringing joy and I have so much to give. My patience goes to zilch, from 1 to 3 seconds. So how can I stretch? How can I be more present? Maybe I need to make a necklace or something that I can wear so that I'm not hiding behind laughter, because I hide behind laughter. I do. Because sometimes what I'm going through is so confusing or so painful, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm not trying to encourage you to pull true confessions out of people. What I am encouraging you to do is identify sadness. Identify a gut feeling of raw emotion, of loss, condemnation. When we journal this week, let's think about those things that let's think about those things that we see every day. Whether you see a meth head running down the street, tweaking and jerking and making those emotions, you're like, oh Lord, please don't jump in traffic. Please don't jump in front of me. Or maybe you're seeing a mother with kids running down a street with no shoes on. And you're thinking, oh my merciful heavens. Yeah, I'm not going to say that out loud. The way we look at our worlds with jaded eyes, we can't be everything to everyone. However, the few people that actually can come close enough to be close enough, like 6 feet away from us, We can nod at them. We can smile at them. We can do certain things that don't say, your pain in your life is irreverent to me because I'm going to stay here in my happy zone and make a joke. Although I did have a lot of fun doing that when I had to pay my taxes. We had about 5 people in line rolling. We were sharing memes. It was hilarious. But those people were already happy and they were toe tapping and they were in a good mood. So that's not what I'm talking about. If people are smiling and people can appreciate a joke, why not get everybody else smiling in a great joking manner? Why not? This is the fun of life, to share what you've already got. However, we are called to cry with those who cry. If you embrace Christ, if you embrace what he teaches, we sing with those who want to sing. We're sad with those who are sad. We feel another's anger. We don't hide behind a comfortable emotion. Let's us slip away. We're out the door. We're done with you. No, we're right there. We are the church militant. Do you know that? We need to unsheath our sword and start acting like it. So I want to thank you all for joining me. The biblical quote is on there, or the biblical passage that refers to this sense of merriment, Ecclesiastes 7:5. And prayers for Edgar. Let's not forget his daughter suffering. We all struggle in various degrees in our walk with Christ, in our walk with God. And one of the easiest things that we do is hide behind a sense of unreal comfort, whether it is, laughing, whether it is, as someone said in the audience, busyness. That was my superpower. I can work till I drop at 1 o'clock at night. I can work like nobody's business, even later than that. But that sense of busyness and that sense of constantly having to do things is not what God's calling us to. We're called to recharge. Even if we can't open the Bible, even if we can't sit there and pray, we can just sit there and say, thank you, Jesus. I'm squishing the dog back here, sorry. Even if we can just sit in a moment of gratitude. It's hard. Try it for 2 minutes. Try it for 3 minutes. As we journal through this and look for those opportunities and see other opportunities, let's try and take a couple moments for ourselves this week. Just to be with God. Nobody else. No phones. No movies. No nothing. Just a couple minutes with God. And just thank him for his patience. Never forget, the battle's already been won. Thank you all so much, Czar and Edgar, and those of you I can see on my other device here. Thank you for joining us in this pop-up show based on the book, Bernard of Clairvaux, The 12 Steps on Loving God. I thank you very much for coming. God bless you. God be with you. Never forget the battle is already won, and we're here to what? Help you win the fight and win it right, I hope. swordsofstmichael.org, lots of prayers. prayersbythebead.com, lots of sacramentals and religious items. Support us. Patreon, donate. Have a great night. Until next week, God bless.